Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Art and Business of Writing podcast. I'm your host, Chris Jones. Today, I'm excited. I'm excited because, as promised last week, if you listened to the rebroadcast episode, hopefully you didn't skip it just because it said rebroadcast, because there was an introduction to that episode that talked about this episode. At any rate, if you did, here's what you missed. This week, today, on this episode, I'm going to walk you through the next several episodes, basically the next 16 episodes. So what I'm going to be doing is a 4-month-long series on how to write a book from start to finish. So basically from your idea to your execution. And what we're going to do is we're going to treat it like a class. So it's going to be like a podcast book writing class. And so what I'm going to do is start you with mindset and habit. We're going to talk about what you need to be thinking and how you need to be acting in order to really take your place as a writer. A lot of people say you just hop in there and you start writing and that's it, but there is more to it. There's a mindset that comes with being a writer. There are certain things that you have to consider when you're a writer, and there's certain aspects to writing that we don't typically think about when we're becoming a writer. Particularly one is imposter syndrome. That's a big one for a lot of people. So we're going to be talking about some of those things, just imposter syndrome. We're going to be talking about just the value of affirming yourself, a lot of the mental things that you need to do to prepare yourself for the journey of writing a book, because it does take a lot out of you. It is labor intensive, but it's a lot of fun. And if you have the right attitude, the right mindset, it will be one of the most exciting things you ever do. So we're going to talk about that as episode 74 next week, the first in the series. The next one will be avatars. What your avatar is the person that you're writing your book to. So a lot of times people want to write a book to everybody. You know, this book is for anybody who wants to read it, and that's typically the wrong audience. They say when you do something for everyone, you do something for no one. So what we want to do is walk through how to create an avatar, figure out who it is you're talking to. We want to dial down to the very specifics. So we want to dive into who are you speaking to specifically? Is it male? Is it female? Is it both? Is there a particular age range? Is there a particular gender? Is there a particular socioeconomic status that the person that you're writing to has? We really want to dial into who is your audience, because that's how you're going to write your book. It's going to determine how you outline your book. It's going to determine how you market your book. So we're going to talk about avatar as the second episode after that. The third one's going to be idea development. So this is for people who have an idea but haven't really thought it all the way through. Sometimes we get ideas for books and we think, wow, that would be a great book. But then as we start to write it, we realize that maybe it is not a great book. Maybe it's a great blog post. Maybe it's a great podcast episode. Maybe it's a great YouTube video, but it's not a great book. So we're going to talk about basically how to vet your ideas and how to mind map them all the way out so that you can see just how far and wide a net you can cast to build your book. The next episode after that, we're going to talk about tools. We're going to take and examine all the different tools that writers have at their disposal to write books. We're going to look at software. We're going to look at apps. We're going to look at everything that you need to get started as a writer. I'm a firm believer that you write with what you can to start off with, but if you can afford more, I'm going to tell you about some writing suites that would really make your writing that much better, will make your writing life that much better, and will save you headaches in the long run, because some tools, though they're simple or they're free, may not be the best for you to write in. So we'll dive into tools as the fourth episode. The fifth episode in the series is going to be synopsis. That's when we start to get into the meat and potatoes. The synopsis is basically going to be the buildup of the entire book. So we're basically going to outline the entire book from start to finish, from cover to cover. Where you're gonna know what's going inside of your book, and then beyond that, you're gonna know which categories you fit in on Amazon, what your log line is, and that's basically your synopsis boiled down to a sentence or two. Think of it as like when you go to Netflix and you're looking through television shows or movies, you always read that preview sentence or two to see if it's something you'd be interested in watching, and that's what you're going to be writing. You're going to be writing something like that because your goal is to be able to go any place and go anywhere, and someone say, hey, what's your book about, or what's the book you're writing about, and you should be able to spout that off bam, like that. So we're going to be dialing it in on the synopsis, helping you to get to that. So that's your synopsis. And then the synopsis is going to serve as your blueprint. It's going to help you to write your entire book. So it'll give you an outline based on your avatar. So that's why avatar is so important, because this is how you're going to build your synopsis based on who that person is you're writing to. After that, the sixth in the series is going to be outline development. So we're going to take that outline that you build in your synopsis one step further, and we're going to chop it into deeper sections so that you know how each chapter is going to form. So whereas the synopsis is very general, it's going to just basically tell you what's in each chapter. The synopsis is going to dive in and tell you specifics about each chapter so that you have a full and complete outline to begin writing with. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at ways to write the book. So we're going to look at different tools. If you're a person like me, you're on the go a lot, you want to be able to rely on tools to help you write the book. So I like to use apps that have syncing ability, so I can write on the go and have it sync back to my laptop. There's also dictation. So we're going to talk about all the different ways that you can get this book written so that you can stay on schedule with it. After that, we're going to do a 3-parter on marketing as you write, because once you get to writing, there's not a lot you're going to be doing but writing. So while you're doing that, we're going to talk about building your email list as the first of that. The second part of that's going to be social media, and then the third part of that's going to be building your author website, which is going to be mission critical that you get done and done well. So we're going to talk about those 3 things in the middle of this series. Then we'll spin into editing and proofreading, talking about how to find an editor and how to go about the process of getting your book edited, and do you have to accept all the changes and the different nuances that come with editing. So we'll talk about the different types of editors as well. Then we'll get into book design. What should you look for in a book designer? How should you work with a book designer? What's trending in book design? What fonts are best for your type of book? So we're going to do a deep dive into the creative side of book design, because I believe as self-published authors, one of the biggest weaknesses that we face is that we look self-published. So I want to give you the tools and give you the know-how so that you can begin to look more like a traditionally published author with your book. That's the sweet spot for you. After that, we're going to dive into what beta readers are and how we can use beta readers to improve our book reading experience for the consumer. Your beta readers are going to be people who read your book ahead of time and critique aspects of your book to make sure that it's readable and that's understandable. So we'll talk about beta readers. Then we're going to do a section on the ISBN. It's a very misunderstood thing, but we're going to talk about the ISBN and the importance of choosing the correct ISBN for your book. And then we're going to dive into Amazon, KDP, and Ingram Spark. These are going to be your distribution channels. Once your book is done, you'll upload it to these 3 places, and these will be your distribution channels for how you get your book out into the world. And then lastly, we're going to get into launch. We're going to talk about, boom, here's the big day, the book is ready. How do we create just a great launch party, a launch environment? That's what we're going to talk about most, not the actual book launch itself of spreading out, but really how to create fun launch parties that draw people in and get people excited, whether it's with themes or whatever the case may be. So that's going to be our 16-part series. It's going to be a very good time. And with some of these episodes, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be including links to downloads in the show notes. That way you can download tools to use to help you as you go along the way, so that you can keep up with the episodes. I hope that you'll join me. Please definitely hop on to my website, www.chrisjonesinc.com, and subscribe. I want to have you as a subscriber so I can continue to talk to you about these ideas in between the episodes, because it's going to be mission critical. If you're looking to use this as a springboard, I want to help you right now with this series. So looking forward to doing this with you. Please stay tuned. Next week is going to be the first one. Again, habit and mindset, big for starting writers, and looking forward to talking to you. Until then, we'll see you next week.